Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Space Chick Crypto. My name is Elizabeth Howard, and I am super excited tonight. I have two very special guests in the space cabin. Oh my goodness, I'm super stoked. But first, I got to tell y'all, if you are not following me on Twitter, go ahead and do so at Spacey Crypto One. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump right into it. I want to introduce the man himself, Mike, the investor. What's up, Mike?
Space Chick was popping.
What's going on? And then we also have, guess who we have in here as well? We have Crypto Talk Now. But guess what his name is? His name is Max. What's up, Max?
Max, what's going on, man?
Hey, you too. Glad to see you. I'm having some problems apparently in this area with the internet, so if it seemed a little choppy, I wish what a day to pick it. So, but it's an honor to be here. Just want to state this, Mike the investor. I've been subscribed to you. Man, you were like literally. I know you're gonna think this is crazy. I think you're the first crypto influencer content creator that I followed. So it's quite the honor. That was about over 2.5 years ago.
Yeah,
I used
been
to follow
quite
you
the
for,
journey.
yeah, man, for like BTT and a few other things back in the day, part of the journey, obviously. But yeah, it's awesome being here with you too, Space Chick. Thanks for having me.
Oh, heck yeah, I know. He was the first one for me as well. Like, I'm telling you, Mike, you were the first YouTube content creator for crypto that I was watching. I was learning from VeChain, BitTorrent. I mean, that's where I was learning from Mike. And so it's so cool when Max and I had that last space cabin, we were both talking, we're like, wait, so we both started with Mike. So I had to bring Mike in here. I mean, Max in here and Mike. And oh my goodness, I need to send out one more invite because Ladybug, she wanted to say hi as well. I don't know if she's busy or not, but I do need to send that out. But how are y'all doing?
Man, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Despite even the little pullback we're seeing in the market, it's been crazy. It's been fun though. It's been like meme coin frenzy. So it's been fun. Made some pretty good money over the past couple of weeks, so you can't argue with that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. And how about you, Max?
I'm doing pretty well. The way I look at it is, I haven't been doing the meme coin thing. I did well in 2021 in regards to some of that, right? Shiba Inu and obviously Dogecoin. If it wasn't for those two, I wouldn't even be here. But the one I did pretty well about a month and a half ago was Filecoin. 3 grand in 3 days. I bought the
Nice.
bottom. Yeah.
Whoa, 3 grand in 3 days. See,
And was
that's
this
where I like
recent,
learning
Max?
from.
Yeah, this was with Filecoin, it went down to like an average of about 478 by a couple bags, one at 478, the other one at like 482. So it averaged about like 483.
Hmm.
And yeah, I made a position. I put 7K into it and I was able to profit about 3K off of that. So I'm not no complaints.
Nice,
Oh,
man. Nice. And
I
Filecoin had a
know.
nice run too. It was up over $200+ in the bull.
I know. Yeah. My thing is actually I have a strategy I share with my community. I'm doing it as what I call a power swap.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna, I actually got back into it again, and then I'm looking to swap that for some of these other ones that we normally cover, like for instance, Quant, XRP, XLM, things like that. It's just more of a opportunity. But even long term, it's great. I will let my community know. I feel as though that this is literally like the Coca-Cola of crypto. It's got the highest rate of return, the highest average rate of return with the lowest risk, if you will. So,
Okay, and this is the one you're talking about, right, Max?
yeah, I mean, they've been around for quite a while, and I've only technically done like one video on it, but it's fared well to say the least for me. And Mike is right, even long term. It's really solid. So I look at those types of things. Like I don't want something that's going to be, too high risk. I really been there, done that in 2021. Wanted something that I felt as though was like a safe play. And then my indicators was if this drops below $5, I'm in. And at the time it was between this Polygon Matic and I think one other one which is Stratos. And I said to myself, well, Stratos, my goal is about roughly like the 45 cent area. Didn't hit that. Same with Polygon. I was like, well, if Polygon, drops below like 90 cents, I'll get in. Didn't do that. I already have a bag. And then this, it was the perfect timing. So a lot of times it's following a certain project, as Mike knows, and I'm sure you know as well. Once you see close to that bottom, to basically capitalize on that. And so I decided to do that with Filecoin.
Man, nice move, nice play. I like that. What are you looking at, Mike? Where's your Filecoin? What's your next move?
I mean, I still have my main projects I'm holding into the bull, but I've been taking advantage of some of the meme coins that's kind of grew off of the Pepe influence, like your Bobs. And like, for example, and this is not shilling, but I got into Bob at 8.3 million market cap.
Do it.
Ran it up to 48 million. So I like 7x my money. I did well on so I mean, there's a few. I don't want to name too many, but I do have them posted in my Discord as well.
So, why not, Mike?
Yeah, because I don't want to make it seem like, because I wouldn't just specifically make a video for these projects yet. I make money with them, but like until they're, I guess, a little bit more solidified, or unless I feel comfortable talking about them, I wouldn't make a video on them. But I will make some money from them for sure.
I like that. And that's why I like both of you, because you actually, think about what you're going to say before you say it. That's how I look at y'all. Very knowledgeable, making good plays in the space. And so, I mean, that right there, just what you said. And then Max as well. Like, y'all are making good moves in the space. That's why I like learning from y'all. So meme coins, you're jumping off of those, getting those profits. And I'm sure you're going to be putting into something like you always do. You were talking about VeChain back in the day. Do you still like VeChain?
I do. I'm still holding VeChain too. Never sold.
Good.
So
you never sold?
No, I'm still. Yeah, I never sold. But still holding. So just kind of one of those I never purchased back into, but I'm still holding my bag that I had.
Dang, Max, he hasn't sold since when we first started watching him.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. There's some people say, especially content creators, don't ever marry your crypto. For me personally, there's like probably a couple that I will. Quant, XRP. At some point, the way I look at it, I could very well earn interest off of some of this stuff. So, my thing is, Mike probably knows it as well. Obviously we want to take profits off the top, right? I mean, otherwise you're going to get wrecked, especially in these 4-year cycles. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there is a couple. I have roughly 47 to 50 different projects that I'm in my portfolio. So VeChain, I think originally was following you, Mike, in regards to VeChain back in the day, like early 2021, something like that. And I think that's how, that and BTT is how I, stumbled upon your channel and so on. But I'm personally not into VeChain, but I do think it's a solid project. And there's, a great roadmap ahead, obviously.
Oh, heck yeah. VeChain. I love VeChain. I know that there's some other tokens out there that have like similar, but they're similar, but you can't touch VeChain. You just can't. So you said, how many do you have in your portfolio, Max?
Sorry, I had the mute up button on. I have, last I checked, was about 51, but I pulled back on a few. I do, like what I refer to as like swaps, before I can get more of like the particular asset that I'm going for. So last I checked, it's about 47 roughly. And you got to keep in mind, not all of them are utility based. I mean, I still have a big portion, not the biggest portion, but like I would say maybe 25 to 30% are still ironically in memes, because my attitude was like, I just hate selling for a loss. I'm one of those type of guys, to a fault, right? So, shout out to a guy who visits here quite often. You know who he is, Space Chicken, which is Burned by Saitama is his name. So I got burned by Clifford Inu. You know what I mean? So
oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm very hesitant when it comes to jumping into meme tokens, but I want to state this, right? So I completely recognize that you guys are doing well with PayPay and so on. And my thing is, I saw in our own communities, like some guys got into it, they're doing well, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna swap this once I get to my goals to like, some of these other ones, Hedera. Obviously you're a big fan of Hedera, Space Chick and so on. And I think that's a good thing personally. It's like people recognizing the opportunities. We learned a lot from the past of, it may be quote unquote, meme coin season, but you definitely want to recognize that don't go following the guy like in the past who's saying, hey man, diamond hand the living heck out of this and so on. Like, you know, this project might very well, like, you know, go to a V2 or V3 for crying out loud, you know. You never know nowadays. So it's like, you know, when it comes to some of those, I would totally say, hey, take some of your profits and you want to put towards some of these ones that are, you know, top 100 base or so on, or top 200. That's not a bad idea. So
I agree with you on that. How do you feel about that, Mike?
Yeah, and I agree with Max as well. And I think it really depends on as well for the individual knowing the risk, right? Because you have your well-established cryptos, you have your blue chip cryptos, and those are the ones that we know are going to be here going into this full-on bull run. Projects that's come out in the last month, last couple of weeks, we don't really know if they're going to be here. And a lot of those are going to become obsolete, are going to go to zero. But the idea is, if you know that, then you technically already have an upper hand if you play the game properly. So when you get in, definitely if you're getting in early, right? Take profits at a 2 to 4x every time. It doesn't matter if they say we have the best tech, we're the next best thing smoking. It doesn't matter. Take profits at a 2 to 4x. So that way, you take your profits at a 2 to 4x, leave you a moon bag. So if it does keep pumping, you can also eat off of that as well. And so that's how I'm treating it. Like if it's a gain project, treat it exactly as that. Don't treat it as, oh, this is the next Doge, next She, next Pepe, whatever. Take your money and then leave a moon bag. So that way, at least you don't have any emotion in the game.
I 100% agree with Mike. I mean, he's spot on when it comes to that. And, you know, again, it's part of the crypto journey. I mean, for some people that come off of what I would say, like, you know, wet behind the ears, coming off of that, you know, from Robinhood, right? You know, it's like right off the Robinhood ship, you know, that's an entry point for them. You know what I mean? Yeah, Mike knows what I'm talking about. So it's just like, that's to a sense. I mean, there was a lot of advertisement, you know, I always go back to like early 2021, actually late 2020, right? And that was an entry point for a lot of people. And so they don't know some of these things, like, you know, Mike was talking about, you know, do a 2x, do a 4x and so on, because there's only a select few in which, you know, technically speaking, you do want to hold for multiple years, but there is so many when it comes to, you're going to get absolutely wrecked if you don't do like what Mike was talking about, take the 2x, the 4x and so on.
Yeah, I need to learn to do that because I have been in these. I mean, it's a crypto journey, right? I had these Degen plays that I was in, and I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna like 100x. I'm out. I'm gonna be so good. And then boom, the next day, or when I'm asleep, every single time. It always happens at 3 or 4 in the morning, I swear.
Jeez.
And then I know every time, and so that's why I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done with Degen plays. Let me just keep buying some H bar. I'm just going to buy straight up H bar from now on. But man, it is looking, you know, pretty tempting to jump in on something that's going up. But you're right. You have to know. And that's what I didn't know before, when to take profits. Like, don't be greedy. I got to tell myself, don't be greedy. Just take it and run.
Yeah. And think about this too, Space Chick. Like, you know, everyone wants to hit that next 100x, 1000x, right? Everyone wants to hit a home run every investment. But think about if you're 2 to 5x in every single play. Imagine how much that adds up over time.
That is
you know what
true.
I'm saying? Instead of trying to get that major home run every time, if you're taking profits every time at a 2 to 5x or 2 to 4x, depending on your risk tolerance, and you leave that moon bag, you're going to catch one of those that go to the moon because you always left a moon bag. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I finally started a wallet and I titled it Moonbags. I was like, okay, this is one that I'll just buy, throw some change in there, and then just move on to the next, because I do find that there's so many other great projects in the crypto space, the blockchains. Like, we have Quant, we have XRP, we have, I mean, of course, HBAR. Quant is just, to me, like where it's at. I really think Quant is where it's at, and you got to get you at least one Quant.
It's almost like the GPS for blockchain.
Yeah, isn't it? Quant, like,
yeah, Quant is super legit.
It is just like, look, Max is like, yeah, y'all. If you want to learn,
I never heard called GPS a blockchain, Mike. Probably gonna have to steal that from you, buddy.
It's all
All
good,
right.
man.
You're going to see it on a thumbnail.
You know, I want to throw in this real quick. So earlier, Space Chick, you were talking about, you know, all these things like, you know, cost and money, things are getting expensive. I think you mentioned something like that. You know, I want to state this, right? And I think for the most part, I'm not going to speak for Mike, but I think he might agree with this. And that is how, you know, some people say, how do you know if you're really like in a bull run? Well, like for instance, I covered the bull run thesis like 6 times when everybody said, you know, you're wrong. We're not entering into that. But you know what? Since you guys were on the topic of meme coins earlier and so on, in my opinion, this is how you know. When you go, for instance, to trade and you have to pay those ETH gas fees and they're incredibly sky high, like you're looking at like, you know, $40-$50 based off a $200 purchase. Yeah, you know, we're not all time highs. We're definitely towards the start of it. That's just my opinion. People that said, no, you're wrong. This whole thing's going to crash. The way I look at it is we did not see some of these crazy gas fees for some of these ones, whether it's PayPay and so on, up until recently, right? So, you know, if you're getting wrecked on your gas fees, that might be a good indicator of it. But I just want to state this: do what I do. If you're insisting on getting some of these meme coins and you have to use, unfortunately, that dinosaur technology ETH, then by all means, I know it sounds crazy, especially, you know, for us that have to get up early for work, right? You know, I'm an educator. I have to get up early for work, for teaching and so on. But if you got to have it, get up at literally 1-2 o'clock in the morning. I'm not kidding. The ETH gas fees are significantly lower because there's simply less people on the network.
Okay. I
Think of it
mean,
like a highway. You know what I mean? Typically
Yep.
early mornings or late nights, there's less people on the highway, so it's less traffic. So less traffic on a blockchain means less in gas fees.
Right. And as far as the time zones, you know, for me currently I'm on Pacific Standard Time. So, you know, got to take that into equation. So roughly 1 to 2 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is pretty good rule of thumb.
okay. And I mean, we're that into it. I mean, we're here. We're always talking about it. People in the chat, you know, you should do it too. If you're here, you're into crypto. So I'm going to take your advice on that. Might as well. And I don't want to, my thing is, I don't want to do any more Degen plays because I've seen how it is in the background, how it really, really is. No matter if the project is small or big, it's the same setup. So it's kind of scary, you know, people playing with Pepe and everything. But man, once you get those profits, just take them and run and have fun with it. You
Yep.
know, I'm glad people are getting excited about crypto
Totally,
again.
man.
Asking in the chats, hey, how do I buy crypto, or how do I buy this? Man, that's amazing. Or I had my family members texting me the other day, hey, can you help me buy this or that? Even if I don't agree with you, sure, I'll help you.
You know, this is one thing I gotta say. Like during the last bull run, I made good money, but I also lost some money too. Lost a lot of money to Voyager and just not taking profits on certain projects, right? Learning process. And if I would have treated everything I held and owned last cycle like SHIB, and I made good money on SHIB, but if I would have treated everything like SHIB, I would have had so much money right now.
Really? Just
And so
holding it?
no, I didn't hold SHIB. I took profits on SHIB and made good money. So
I'm
what
glad
I'm
you did,
saying,
Mike.
so
Yeah.
what I'm saying is, if I would have treated everything I owned like SHIB, I would have had so much more money instead of just holding it. I'm going to accumulate into the next cycle and holding it. I'm going to accumulate to the no, fuck that. Sell and take your profits. You know what I mean? Especially if you have money that you don't actually have already. So, for example, if you got $500,000, $500K in value and profit, and you don't actually have that already put up, why would you not take profits on that instead of risking it to go up? Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
No,
That's
know what I
he's
mean?
spot on. Yeah, he's spot on when it comes to that. You know, I keep telling people all the time, you know, our goals obviously is to, you know, become multimillionaires and so on. I remember your shirt, Mike, back in the day, you know, it said, you know, future millionaire. And then eventually you crossed it out. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. You know, congratulations to you, Mike. Yeah. When you
I haven't made
shirt.
millionaire status yet, man.
Oh, but I
I
just saw
would
that
have
you
if I didn't
crossed it
lose
out.
everything.
Yeah. Okay.
No. I'm still on the verge, but we're getting close. We're getting close.
That's good.
That's awesome. But either way, I'm glad to hear that you took your profits off SHIB. I definitely did myself. At one point, I bought over 1 billion of these things. I turned 8K into 88K. I didn't get right at the very, very top, but almost. I pulled back. I did the same thing with Dogecoin. My buddy who got into Dogecoin like summer or 2020. He was, he calls me up out one day, just like panicking and saying, "Look, man, I literally made $5 million off of Dogecoin." And I was like, "You gotta be kidding me." He's like, "Yeah, go ahead and put 10 grand to this." Like, okay, I'm a school teacher in a state that has the second worst teacher wages. I don't exactly have like 10 grand. Technically I did, but that, it would have hurt. You know what I mean? It would have been painful. So he's like, "Well, put in whenever you can." I was just kind of speculative at the time. Like, I don't know, man. So, he's just like, "Well, then put like, like a couple grand." I was just like, "Look, in the past, I got so burned with like MLM and stuff like that. That's what's going through my head." And he's just like, "Well, just put something into it." So I was like, "I'll put $300 into it," and turned $300 basically into 22K because it came in at a penny. But on that, like I saw it and I was like, everybody's saying, this is going to go to $1. And I was saying to myself, like, I don't know. What if it doesn't go to $1? You know what I mean? So on that one, I wrote it up almost to like, what was it, 74, 75 cents? I think it was like roughly
75 cents. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I wrote mine up to like 71 or 72 or something like that.
Good for you, man.
Nice.
Yeah. And I was like, to hell with everybody else. I'm taking my profits. But you know what? I got back into it. And same with Shiba Inu. I got back into it. I waited for the thing to pull back. I understood that we're going into like a quote unquote crypto winter bear market. So it's part of the learning experience as well. But I'm really glad to hear that you took that strategy. You took profits off of SHIB, Mike, because as we know, that set the precedence, if you will, going forward for all these meme tokens to a sense. That's like the blueprint foundation. Everybody, we look at all these projects like 10 zeros, 15 zeros. Shiba Inu literally went from 10 zeros all the way down to 4 zeros. And for me, it was I came in at like 0.50799, and I sold at 0.40 like 88 roughly. So it was literally 8K and 88K.
Damn.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff.
And I still have over 1 billion of these. So I got back in. So that's one thing people understand. They think they get what I call crypto tunnel vision. I'm sure Mike can vouch for this. Maybe you the space chick a little bit. Yes. It's like you get this tunnel vision. You say to yourself, well, I have to diamond hand the living hell out of this. And if I don't, then I'm going to get wrecked in the future. No, you're going to get wrecked on 90% of
by not taking profits.
Exactly.
Look at those taxes on some of them. Some of them are like 13-15% in taxes. Like, do y'all not invest in those that are that high in tax? Because that's 26 for me then, I gotta wait. Then I need to, I guess, figure out which projects don't. Yeah. Okay, what do y'all do though with a tax like that?
There's nothing you can do about it. If you're selling DeFi, there's nothing you can do. You got to pay those taxes.
That's true. And that's why.
But I mean, for me though, I knew that going in. You know what I'm saying? So like, I knew there's tax buying and I knew there's tax selling. So it is what it is. It's just kind of a chunk that comes out of my profit whenever I take it.
Okay.
Right. And there's, there's two forms of tax. I mean, obviously getting taxed on, for instance, like he was talking about the whole DeFi route. Another way to technically avoid taxes, I know this sounds bad, but it's like, as the saying goes, the way the IRS looks at it is you will never get technically taxed unless you take a profit, as in cash out. So technically speaking, I want people also to know that, yeah, you're going to get taxed on the front end, right, and so on, especially if it's a Ethereum based project and so on. Like, you're going to get taxed quite a bit to a sense. But what I'm trying to say is you can do your swaps. So, you take your profits, you swap to, for instance, a stable coin. I know it sounds very unpopular nowadays to say stable coin, but, you swap it to, like, for instance, Circle or, Tether. Everybody was saying that Tether was going to be the one to do a massive crash and it being Circle. Look how that worked. But anyway, and what I did is I decided, you know what? Yeah, I'm not quite ready to do the whole I trust capital thing. I think that's a great concept, right? Doing a crypto IRA, right? But I kept like a big portion of what I swapped to, for instance, some particular stable coins and whatnot. And that way I have it primed and ready to go for all sorts of different opportunities. As the saying goes, some people would like have some fiat on store for when there's a big pullback. How about this? Have some particular crypto asset, which is Tether or Circle, or whatever your favorite one is. Some people it's DAI, and have that primed and ready to go for certain opportunities because it's part of a pairing.
Yeah, that makes more sense, I would think, because yeah, that's just too much to do anyway. Sometimes it takes a while too, with fiat. Let me see here.
Well, that's the thing. If you withdraw it to your bank account, then that's like, okay, the IRS is like, okay, that's considered, you're taking the profits and so on. So that doesn't happen until you decide to hit that button to cash out. So I just want people to know that. And I think for the most part, people do, but some people don't.
Yeah, it took, I learned that last year. I was like, oh, okay, just kept cashing out. I'm like, wait a second. They have cards out here where I can still use my crypto. I don't need to be cashing out. What's up, Diamonds and Rubies and Mara? Always here showing support. We got some H-bar fans in here. Look at that. Okay, I like that. The 2 to 4x, What's up, Luis? Taking profits, because that's what I was talking to Crypto Empress about, and Kim, my friend, Kim as well. Y'all got to meet her. She's awesome. Taking profits. Like, okay, wait a second. Kim and I get kind of greedy. And we're like, okay. Empress, we go to her and we're like, you're the voice of reason. She's like, pull it. But see, I stopped doing Degen plays since I just can't anymore, because I'm learning, if you want to play, you're going to get burned out quite a few times for sure until you catch on with what's going on. Unless you have somebody holding your hand, you're not going to know what to do until you get burned. That's what I have gone through. That's what I've heard from other people. And so how did you have any Degen plays? I mean, you had Clifford, Max. That was a Degen play. We know yours.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Mike, what about you? What was your play?
Let's see. I would probably say the biggest one that I can think off the top would probably be Mononoke, probably.
Oh God, I was in that too.
Dude, I mean, yeah. But off the top of my head, that was probably, I would say, the worst one. Because I mean, because how quickly the holder count was growing and everything was happening, everyone was like, "Hey, this could potentially be the next the next Saitama," right? So, and this was at the peak of the bull run, and so I was like, "All right," I put some money in there, and it's worth like $50.
Oh, no. You got me beat, man.
50, not 6 or something.
I mean, I put in some grands though, so for it to work.
I was gonna say if you're $50, yeah.
I
was gonna say,
so yeah.
Like Mike's like, I don't even want to talk about it. I want to shake.
I think I put in like maybe 600 or something like that, and it's worth like, I don't know, $5 or something. It's pretty bad, but yeah, it was it was considered a slow rug, basically.
Yeah,
speaking.
basically.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And knowing that, their last major update, which is pathetic in itself, if you go to the Twitter, Larry obviously is not here.
Don't give them no time.
Yeah, well, don't go there. But I was gonna say it had a thing. It looks like E Honda from Street Fighter. And they have this horrible, look at her, cutting edge graphics, like 8-bit Nintendo graphics, for crying out loud. It shows this guy looking like E Honda from Street Fighter, and it shows this Chinese restaurant in the background, and it's like a subliminal message. This guy is literally squatting down, and it looks like I hate to use this visual, especially if people just ate. It looks like he's taking a dump on the community.
Oh,
I don't know if you saw that, Mike. You remember that?
No, I didn't. Like after
April 2022, I think is when the last time they posted that.
Yeah, I kind of just stopped following the project and just kind of when I checked up as a loft and moved on.
You're like, hit you.
Part of the crypto journey, right?
Yeah.
I'm going back to VeChain.
So I guess you answered the question I was going to ask you, Space Chick. I was going to ask, have you aped into any of these high risk community tokens or meme tokens, I should say?
I did a couple of them, and I don't know why I did, but I did. And then, okay, so the thing was with me, I'll never forget, is I saw when Vault was listed on, recently listed on CoinMarketCap, and now y'all know my story with that. I'm here all the time with Vault, but I could have been there like that day. And I was thinking, oh, that's just, that's just a scam. And so I think that's what it is. You feel like it's FOMO. I don't want to miss out. I don't want to miss out. So it's like a long FOMO.
I got you.
I don't want to miss out. But, I did like jump into some that were just one dayers even. I feel like I've gone through 100 of them. Where's my 101 where I'm
Oh,
going to hit
wow.
that one? No, I don't know about 100, but I've probably been in about 15
Okay. Okay. That's
so
fair.
far.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I
so
mean,
about
it's easy to ape into so many though. I mean, it's it's easy.
yeah. Oh
So
my
what I
God.
would say, like for anyone that maybe wants to ape in some of the higher risk plays, but kind of have that fear of missing out, but also don't want to get scammed,
Mm-hmm.
like truly like have a come to Jesus meeting with yourself and
Yeah.
understand like, hey, what is true risk capital for me? If it's only $1,000, that's fine. But don't put all that $1,000 in one play. You know what I'm saying? Mix it up. Maybe put 200 here, 200 here, 200 here, and maybe keep the other 400 just to see how those three play out.
Yeah. See,
And
that's
then,
my thing. Spacing it.
and
Dollar
then,
cost averaging.
and then the key is if you're catching something early, even if it's a scam or if it goes obsolete in the next few months, it's very possible you can get a 2 to 5x. So if you're always taking profits at that 2 to 5x, you're always going to win. So now you just turn that 200 into 400 or to 600. Even if those other two failed, you still won.
Yeah.
So that's what I would try to say. Even if it's only $100, we've seen what $100 can do in a meme coin. It can turn into 5K, 10K, 100,000. It's not going to happen every day, but if you never expose yourself to it, it can never happen for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is true. And I can't wait for the day that I know it'll happen because as many times it's a numbers game, I cannot wait to take those profits and be like, I finally like had some self-control, or I got extra lucky, but I had some self-control and I could do that because Max is a success story. You're a success story. And I'm over here still trying to get it, but I was in those Degen plays, no limit orders, not knowing that, like, what goes on in the background. Then I find out what goes on in the background. Some devs go from one project to another within days, making these. And so y'all got to be careful out there because there's so many plays out there. There's so many cryptos that we're almost at that 24K mark of cryptocurrencies out there. So, I mean, these top, what do you normally go up to that y'all check? Or do y'all normally check the top 100, the top 200?
It depends what I'm like. If it's a super high risk Degen play, I mean it's super high risk. I'm treating it as that. I'm putting in 500, 1,000. Once that turns into 2 to 3K, I'm taking out 2K, leaving probably 1,000 to 500 and just letting it ride. So it depends. Now, if we're talking top 100, some of those have kind of moved around a little bit, Space Chick, but a lot of those that's like in a high top 50, like have already been there throughout the bear market. So they're kind of more of the established, cryptos and some of the blue chips. I mean, those you kind of invest in different and you have a different mindset. Those are the ones you can kind of hold more of a long-term stance compared to just getting in something for a couple of days or a day and getting out of it. And then also you got to think about it, the more established blue chip projects, they're not going to do 100x, 500x, like something that's just coming fresh off the pot. You know what I mean? So it's a different mindset as well.
Like they're not going to move like that, like how those Degen plays. Yeah. What do you like going up to, Max? Or do you like looking at the top 100, top 2?
Well, it's fun to look at the top 100. My main thing is, it's just, we always say it, right? Like the theme of my show is, like, for instance, yours says crypto updates with special guests and so on. I would say, like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times a week, I call my show DYOR, right, with Max. And it's because it's just that. It's like, it doesn't not necessarily matter if it's the top 100, the top 500. You could find a micro cap gem even in maybe the top 1,000. But the key thing is, how do you capitalize that? And is it a solid project? I mean, like we always mention, and I know people get tired of hearing this, right? You know, it's like make sure you look at the white paper. I have some rules of thumb. Like if that white paper looks more like a light paper, it's like, you know, where like it looks like the site was literally created by like a 5-year-old. You know, somebody bought this off of Fiverr. You could really see it was cheap. Nothing against Fiverr, but you know, there's some really good solid projects. Like you know, we've been looking into a few new things. You know, for instance, Desos has a low supply. Seems like a solid project, right? That's the tokenization of decentralized social media. You know what I mean? So I'm also looking at things like that are not necessarily top 100, but almost to the point where it is. We covered Jasmy quite a bit. That's currently ranked like 107.
I've heard about it a lot, but I haven't covered it.
Oh man. So like the way I look at it, Mike, is currently speaking right now as we speak when it comes to like countries. So the United States, as we know, we're not embracing crypto. It sucks. You know, we're pushing innovators away. You know, you saw, for instance, Brian Armstrong of Coinbase. You know, he's basically in a nutshell saying, hey, I'm gonna take this to, you know, Europe or wherever, you know, is more crypto friendly. And you know, that's not the only company, right? Like for instance, you saw some other ones recently, but it's this whole topic of, you know, being pushed out. Well, when it comes to Japan, it's a whole different narrative. Over there, you know, they got things in place in which they're giving tax incentives, right? You know, taking the capital gains, cutting it down to 20% to benefit both small and big businesses for Japan. They even introduced a Web3 white paper. Can you imagine if the United States was introducing a Web3 white paper to the country? So there's quite a few things in that, but with Jasmy is what they call data democratization. Just to give you guys, your newcomers, a heads up in regards to Jasmy, their label is the Bitcoin of Japan, but obviously we know when it comes to Bitcoin, there's no smart contracts. It's just a label they gave them, being the first. But over there, you know, they have this thing called data democratization. So in a quick nutshell, just to give you like a 20-second answer in regards to Jasmy, you know, I'm pretty sure all of us live in the United States. So here in the United States, like people say, oh, well, hey, you know, at one point, come from MySpace to Facebook. You're going to love it. Okay, does this cost anything? Oh, no, it's absolutely free. Wrong. There is a price. Just like in anything, there is a price. And that is you freely gave up your rights to that data so it can be basically used for niche marketing, you know, strategies and so on. Hence why out of nowhere, like I could talk about a Weber barbecue grill to my friends.
And then it's going to show up when you're looking at something on social media.
It is. Did he get rugged? Oh no.
Did he get rugged?
Max.
He should be back in.
Okay. Yeah. Man, he was on a roll. Max. Somebody just asked me about Jasmy the other day. Actually, diamonds and rubies.
Okay.
Let me see. So I was like, you know what? I've heard about it and said, let me see it. Oh,
there
wait.
With you guys.
There you are. There you are.
I don't know. This whole area, for some reason, they keep doing construction, and it's driving me crazy. But
go out there and tell them, hey, look, we are in a space cabin.
Yeah,
we are in space right now.
Sorry about that. All I was gonna say basically is they just, you know, you're giving up that data. That's the price that you paid. In Japan, they have what they call like an honor system and so on. So they have a totally different mindset. They want to protect users' data, and that's a big thing. So with Jasmy, they have these things called, you know, PDL, which means personal data lockers. And it doesn't just end there. You know, they call this like IoT Internet of Things. So, you know, they have partnerships, like for instance, with a company called WITS. It's a subsidiary of Toyota. They have another partnership with a company called Akashi, which is a subsidiary of Sony. And, you know, if you look at it, like even on the price, like on CMC, I mean, I'm looking at right now, I mean, you know, this thing was at 0.006825. I mean, some people look at it, they're like, oh, this is a rug pull. Well, if you look at the chart, Jasmy and even Ripple's XRP, very similar circumstance, right? And on top of that, listen to this, like they have 95% of this is in, you know, in a circulating supply, has a max supply of 50 billion, total supply of 50 billion. By the end of this year, supposed to have the start of a Q4 lockup. Which basically 70% of the devs are going to lock that up. I mean, I'm just looking at it from the perspective of that risk to reward ratio, and it becomes very, very attractive to say the least. And then they just went to Hong Kong with Amazon Web Services for a particular conference there. They were at Consensus 2023. So on this particular one, I have 2 bags of this. I loaded up, and the way I look at it is, you know, we cover a lot of utility projects. Obviously, the triple X is XRP, XLM, XDC. My favorite one, obviously, is Quant and so on, HBAR. But Jasmy has gone from my top 20 to like my top 15 to top 10, and it literally is now my top 5. I know it sounds bad, Space Chick, because I know you're a big fan of HBAR. Don't get me wrong, HBAR is now like my number 6, but Jasmy became my number 5. Yeah, hear me out. It became my number 5 because I'm looking at it from this perspective, and this perspective for, you know, only for the most part. And that is when we talk about this whole thing of we got to get regulatory framework to get that regulatory clarity for all this stuff to really, really take off. I mean, basically that's where it's at. We want the institutional money. Well, what if you have a project that is literally stationed in a country where you already technically have, you know, them embracing, you know, distributed ledger technologies and embracing crypto and, you know, Web3 white paper and so on. So where you already have, like, they're not full there on, you know, completely there on the clarity, but man, you might as well say that they are, because they're more, they get it a lot more than the United States and some of these other countries. So that is my thing. I mean, on top of that, they're unbanning the stable coins there. You got to keep in mind, Japan ranks number 3 in the world in GDP, right? United States is number 1. Number 2 is China. Japan is number 3 in GDP. So the way I look at it is, wow, the unbanning of these stable coins, you're going to have these pairings where you're going to allow a whole country of Japan, which ranks again number 3 in GDP, to have access in these pairings to acquire some of these particular assets and so on. The Web3 white paper, all this innovation that they're, you know, embracing, while the rest of the world is trying to figure it out, they already have figured it out. And then to have some of these partnerships and some of these things. I mean, like, for instance, Hara, who's the CFO, I think it is, of Jasmy, he takes some of these governmental bigwigs, if you will, because again, even the government over there has mentioned that, they want to basically embrace the concept of private data ownership and so on. Yeah, that's the guy right there. And so if there is that real connection there, my thing is, why wouldn't I want to get involved in something like this where we're literally close to the bottom on this? And this had all-time highs back in 2021 of close to $5. And so the way I look at it is, you know, I tell my community, could this one be the one that gets us to the quote unquote crypto promised land of, you know, generational wealth first? I think it very well could be. And I've been covering this like crazy. I mean, almost every day I try to do a video about this, and they keep coming out with new things, like whether it's Consensus 2023, going to Hong Kong, partnership after partnership. It just continues to impress me, to say the least.
How much do you know about? Sorry, go ahead, Spaceship.
Oh no, Consensus. That was a big one. That was here in Austin. And I know when I got off the plane at the airport, it was like Consensus. It was a big deal here in Austin. It's really cool for whoever was there. All right, go ahead. Sorry, Mike.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say, how much do you know about the main guy running the show, Max? I was reading when Space Chick was going down. He had some connections and ties with Sony, and I'm a big fan of Sony. Back in my stock market days, I was holding Sony, so
nice.
It's piqued my interest.
No, that's a great question, Mike. So basically speaking, it's like, you know, this guy Hiroshi Harada.
He go up to the first guy, Space Chick.
First guy,
right there. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, all these guys are former, you know, Sony executives and so on, and so they still have, you know, they still rub elbows with Sony and whatnot. There's, for instance, there's some demos of like some of the Internet of Things IoT products that they, you know, are partnered up with. Like again, like I was telling you guys, Akashi. Akashi is a subsidiary of Sony. So one thing that, you know, Flutters try to do is they try to say, well, you know, Sony hasn't officially listed anything. This is just a blatant road pull. It's like, hello, subsidiary. Okay, subsidiary. So Akashi, right, is that subsidiary. And then another impressive subsidiary is the thing with WITS. Here in the United States, as we know, you know, you got Mopar, right? The connection to, for instance, Daimler Chrysler Benz, you know, for parts on my, I don't have a Dodge Charger, but you go with Mopar, right? It's the same concept, with, for instance, with Toyota. So they have some really, really solid things going on. And then the recent thing that we covered earlier today is this thing in regards to, it's called the DFFT. I believe it. Hold on a second. Let me just pull this up for a second. But yeah, on this particular one, it's called DFFT, excuse me. And I'm considering the path towards regulatory clarity. And the cool thing is this, listen to this. These big meetings are literally happening this month for Japan. And Japan is really starting to like get the ball rolling to introduce this, guess what, the guys, to the rest of the world. And this is why I feel as though it's like, yeah, Japan's really got it figured out. Everybody else is just, playing catch up. And that's where it's at. I mean, again, if you already have a country that's embracing all this, could I be too far off when it comes to my own prediction that, yeah, look into some of these ones that are tied into Japan. Jasmine definitely stands out.
Nice. I'm gonna start. I've learned a lot already so far. I didn't know they had any dealings, or they had worked for Sony and stuff. This is neat. I like that as well. Like, you need to consider your source. Like, where are these people from? What have they done before? and Sony's a big one, and that's cool. You were in on that, buying some of that stock, Mike. Super smart. And Max, this is cool. I like Jasmine.
Yeah, it's not too shabby.
Yeah, it's piqued my interest.
Yeah, I've been covering it quite a bit. I mean, this obviously quant. We still covered the heck out of the X. We try to cover XLM. XLM's kind of hard to cover because just come out with things all the time. But if you don't mind, Space Chick, I just wanted to give a warm welcome to I saw some of our own community come in here.
Yeah,
they're probably part of your community as well. But I wanted to give a shout out to Tim Shea. Sobo, thank you so much for being here. Dave D, GS, Brittany, just some familiar faces, Big Watch Dude, I mean, some of your guys. And then also on top of that, at work, I said, hey, is there any way you guys could basically tune in? So they're like, well, I don't have a YouTube account. I was like, all right, you could count as as a viewer. I don't even know if they could smash the like if you don't have an account, but
no, I don't think it lets you.
Oh, okay. But nonetheless, so in the, I guess you could say the quote unquote like lecture hall or whatever, they connected with their phones, and I honestly think I had probably, I don't know, maybe 30 to 40 people watching. So that's cool.
Oh, thank you so much. Heck yeah. Hello. Welcome everybody to the Space Cabin. I was able to space net Mike and Max. Sub to the channel. I get some pretty cool people in here for sure. And I appreciate everybody that's here because, y'all, if it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be here, right, y'all? I mean, this is fun. I like hanging out with y'all and people in the chat. If you have questions, go ahead and ask. The guys are here. Super smart, and we can learn a lot from them. I know I'm learning. Chaka, great lineup tonight. What's up, Chaka?
Chaka, hey, man, good to see you. F Joe Crypto, good to see you, man.
F Joe Crypto. Gotta love F Joe. All right, so you would like Jasmine, about how much is a good amount? I know that you hate, and we hate questions like that, but
no, it's all right. So I'm not the type of guy, like, I'll never be the guy to say, yeah, go out, buy 1,000 of this or 10,000 of that. That's just, to me, people shouldn't be doing that. So one thing I do consistently mention is to our community is, again, as Mike knows, and as well, right? Not financial advice, but when my personal goal originally, and I already hit these goals. So I said, I wanted my original goal to be 100,000 Jasmine. I already got to those particular goals, right? So, and then some, and make it like a goal for 100,000. Now, why would you want to do that? For one, at these particular prices, you're still close to bottom. If you're wondering what bottom was for this project, it was 0.00, roughly about 2829. We had like maybe a couple guys. I'm sure he's not watching right now, but shout out to Michael Cornwell. He got a bag of this at those price levels, but also at the same time, I mean, it's part of the journey. I think he came in at like 21 cents. So again, the power of the DCA. But if you want to talk about a great entry point, even at these particular price levels, I would say never buy on a green candle. But we have gotten new support recently at the 0.006s. I bought 2 bags. My first bag was 0.0065. My second bag was 0.0053. So yeah, I'm still in the profits. And the way I look at it is I've doubled my position as far as my goals. But here's the thing: if you get just at least 100,000 of these, and it goes back up to $1, which I feel as though it will, right? I mean, I don't really just say that about anything. Do your own research, as the saying goes. Find out if Jasmine is for you. I'm not paid by them or anything like that. We're not sponsored by anybody. It's just based off of the research that we've done and so on. But for me personally, I feel like there's something really solid here. If you look at the chart, it looks like a blatant rug pull, but there's a lot of projects that look like blatant rug pulls.
Hold on, we're gonna look.
Yeah.
Hold on, Max, because I saw it and I was like, "This thing didn't die. This isn't dead." Hold on. That you're talking about, it's up over 5%, so it didn't die. It's here.
No. You gotta keep in mind. So this has gone from, again, like I want to say, like
gosh.
Yeah, it looks like a freaking rug pull. Absolutely.
Look at this.
But I would advise you this: look at XRP's chart. Looks like a rug pull. There's a lot of projects that look similar to this, and some, let's face it, are rug pulls. For this particular one, they have built in a bear market. Another particular example of a project that did a very good job of building in a bear market is XDC. And a lot of times people complain about like consolidation. Mike, the investor, could vouch for this. We saw back in 2021 that May, which was original all-time highs. So from May 2021 to, I believe it was October, when Shiba Inu went to 2021, we went to like all-time highs.
It's double top.
Yeah, but remember all that complaints? All those floaters are like, oh, this thing is not doing anything. It's just trading sideways. Trading sideways gives consolidation. Consolidation is so great for the digital asset because it strengthens the project. Literally, let's put it in layman's terms. You take a great big cauldron or a great big pot. You keep filling that thing full of stuff, right? It gets to the point where it can't hold it no more. It will explode. So the way I look at it is, with Jasmine, 95% of the circulating supply is already out there. You're going to have 100% by the end of the year, the 70% lockup that's going to happen. And then all the partnerships and then how they build in a bear market and so on. Getting out to consensus, going with Amazon Web Services when it comes to, Hong Kong and the partnerships. And how about this? I'm sure you guys are, you're new to this and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm starting to look at Jasmine as being like the Dell computers for the modern era of Web3. They have these computers. They're called they're basically called secure PCs. They're blockchain PCs. Like, who's really doing that? Nobody's really doing that right now. So that itself is really original. They're going to contribute towards building smart cities. I mean, here in the United States, that concept, like, people don't like that. Right? But you got to keep in mind that in other places in the world, in the Far East, that's a real thing. And so how are they going to go about that? With, again, that protection of that personal data, that's worth quite a bit. So with that said, that's the utility that's used because you get rewarded in the Jasmine token for, if you choose to monetize your data or, give it to a particular company for they can track it, not just freely giving them away to like Facebook or Google or whoever, right? Mm-hmm. That's powerful in itself because it makes it unique and it makes it original. So all I'm saying is I'm not trying to sell anybody on Jasmine. I'm not paid by them or anything like that. At the end of the day, the way I look at it is, we're not sponsored by anybody, but all this stuff, in my opinion, for the most part, it's going to pay for itself. It's the research. And that's one thing that we do over on our channel. We provide news, education, and a little bit of entertainment. I used to be on an improv team. You're going to get a little bit of impersonations and so on. But that's where it's at. If you're in a great solid project, the project will speak for itself. You won't have to be sold on, by all means, don't be sold on it from a YouTuber like myself and so on. Be sold on it off of the research that you've done. And for me personally, I came to the conclusion that my new goal, and this is my own personal goal, I don't want people to FOMO into this. My new own personal goal is a million Jasmine. And it's because we recently covered that this has the potential of going well above the all-time highs and so on. And again, guys, I mean, if this gets to $1 and you have at least 100,000 tokens, you're not gonna get rich off 100,000 bucks, but it's a heck of a lot better than a kick in the butt, right? So that could be like towards a new house or a great down payment or paying off college debt or whatever the case be.
Yeah. I mean, so I like how you put that, your goal. I like that instead of like, how much do you think? I like that. I'm gonna have to use that. Mike's like, yeah, say it right, Space Chick.
No.
Yeah, let me tell you really quick, because now I'm gonna look and see where I can get some Jasmine for, and I know y'all want to know as well.
Shit,
I can
100,000 is under 700 right now.
I can feel
And
them.
it's not like it's a meme
You know what I'm
coin.
saying? So
where-
it's not
yeah,
like it's a ton of money to get 100,000.
No,
Right,
it's
exactly.
not.
It's under 700, so
So, I
700
mean-
could potentially turn into six figures potentially.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at so if you're going to get 100,000, just basically, I mean, you're just moving decimal points, simple math. So it's like what you see right here, was it 0.006892?
Mhm.
You got to look at it from the point of view for 100, you get 100,000 of these for $689.20 plus the fee. So I got mine off of KuCoin. You could get it where other exchanges as well. So
Nice. Okay. I see crypto.com. That's one of my favorites. I love crypto.com. I
Yeah.
think it's because that's what I started with.
Oh, that's okay. That's you know what? Hey, I forgot to mention this, Mike. So you mentioned Voyager,
Yeah.
right? You said you got wrecked by Voyager, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, brother. Really, I am. So hear me out. One good thing for this is bad. I got to mention to you, buddy. So originally, when I was following you, you had that link for Voyager, and I wanted to get on Voyager, right? And so at the time, it's like early 2021, Voyager had that waiting list. You remember that?
Yep, I do.
Yep. And so as a result, this is how I dodged a bullet, you guys.
Damn.
What happened was, so what happened was, I was like, well, I really like Mike Investor. I want to, I watch his content all the time. I wanted him to get credit for, this referral. But it was the waiting list. And I'm looking at Shiba Inu. I'm like, man, if I keep waiting on my Shiba Inu, I'm going to pay too much, So then I saw that crypto.com had a listing. And so I decided, I was like, well, forget Voyager. I'm not going to wait. I'm just going to go on crypto.com. And that is how I dodged a bullet on Voyager.
Well, man, I'm glad you dodged it, man. I'm glad you dodged it, man.
But isn't that crazy how things like that work out, man?
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah.
The only exchange that I kept money on, assets on, was the one that went down, because I never talked about FTX. Never talked about there was something else that crashed too. There was something else that crashed besides Voyager. It was FTX, Voyager, Celsius. Never talked about Celsius either. But the one I did talk about burned me. So it is what it is, man.
You can't get them all, right? You've been on YouTube for a minute.
That's true.
It's part of the journey. I mean, people got to understand, even as content creators, and we're not perfect. We try to do our best, but it's as the saying goes. I mean, there's some things that come through the cracks.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all, I got to tell y'all really quick. Yes, Mike, the investor, has a YouTube channel, and so does Max. It's called Crypto Talk now. I dropped their links in the chat, but let me show you who they are on YouTube. If you don't know who they are, oh my goodness, you don't crypto.
I almost called you Jasmine. What's wrong with me?
You got Jasmine on the brain.
Spaceship. What I was gonna say is, I'm looking at your channel or your live stream. I mean, you have a pretty good turnout. So I mean, I invited the heck out of some people. I think a few of them are watching on their computers in the media center. Some are watching on their phones. They don't have YouTube accounts, unfortunately. Some of them do. I said if you can't hit the like and stuff like that, but
thank y'all.
I think you got a pretty good turnout. I'm gonna say because me, I'm gonna say I think the main reason why I have awesome turnout. Are you kidding me? Mike, the investor's in the house. Was it like close? You're coming up to like 80,000, something like that, on your subscriber count, man. That's amazing, brother.
Really? Let's check it out. Let's see. Holy cow! Yeah, rightfully so. You have that many and more to come for sure. Y'all go sub to Mike.
Yeah, we're gonna get
77.4K
it back
up.
rolling. It's been pretty stagnant a little bit, but I think it's mainly because of y'all are just so awesome. I mean, it's I appreciate it, but I think it's y'all so awesome. And I mean, Space Chick, think about it. Think about how many people she's had on the channel. So now the community people kind of know what to expect, so people come with that energy. So man, shout out to Space Chick, man. Shout out to Space Chick.
Thank
Absolutely.
you
Shout out to you, Space
so
Chick, and
much.
congrats even for yourself, Space Chick. I mean, Mike is right. I saw that you ticked up to, are you kidding? 3,000 was it 3,010 or something like that?
I
I
hit
mean,
You was
that's,
just like at what,
yeah,
1,500 not too long ago?
not too
Like,
long ago. Yeah, I agree, man. You're doing it. You're doing it. That's awesome. I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thank y'all so much. For real. Oh, it was scary. Sometimes you get anxiety coming on. I don't know about y'all, but sometimes I get anxiety like coming on, and I'm like, you know what? Once I start talking about it, crypto and everything, and whoever I'm on here with, it just goes away. Like, yeah, no, and being on here with some cool people like you, some legends, where I can just learn. I learned so much, and I know everybody in the chat learns as well, because some people are just learning how to start, starting to know how to make a crypto wallet, or what crypto is, or any of that. So I'm glad that y'all have channels, because like right now we just learned a ton about Jasmine.
we did. Shout out to Max.
Well,
Wow,
that's just
shout
scratching the
out.
surface. I mean, they got some really impressive things. I mean, I even have I think a short clip, because I
Yes.
brought some things, to say the least. But I always recognize people in the comments. I want to give a shout out to also, yeah, again, everybody showed up, whether it's from Mike the Investors community, your community, Space Chick, our community at CTN. Also want to give a special shout, excuse me, to XXI Gaming. Love you, brother. Thank you so much for being here. And I do want to read this comment from Scottish Crypto. He says, how many quant would be a good amount? I'll get both Jasmine quant next paycheck. So another thing I tell our community, is minimum, try to set your goal for obviously 100,000 Jasmine. I know that's a lot of money. It's not okay. You have to do it like, shoot all in one wad. But the other thing I was going to state is in regards to quant, I tell people at least 10 long term. My new goal is 20. I haven't hit my goal yet. You know what I mean? So the other day, this guy was, on Twitter, sent me a DM. His name is Jay. He's a good guy. He was in his head, they think because you cover something a lot, like, oh, you must have 100 quant. I wish I had 100 quant. I mean, technically speaking, I could get 100 quant if I switch some things around. I did reinvest, and my new total is like 72K with the recent Filecoin thing, back into crypto. But it's not about that. It's shout out to Brian Dow. He's not here right now. It's not a part of my expression. It's not a pissing matchup or whatever, right? It's not that at all. It's at the end of the day, only put in what you're willing, as the saying goes, to lose. You don't want to sell the farm or mortgage your home. Some people do that. I mean, if you're 100% convinced, you're like, man, this is I missed out on Bitcoin back in 2010. For instance, like this is it, then you got to do what you got to do. I mean, I could give anybody financial advice, but that's just my thing. I'm looking at it from the perspective of like which ones get us there. And I'm going to bring like this whole thing of quant, 100 plus blockchains becoming fully interoperable, blockchain agnostic. It's literally an operating system for blockchain. I mean, what's not to be impressed with right there? I mean, that's like investing
GPS
into
for blockchain.
Exactly. I'm gonna use that again, Mike. I mean, that's a great expression. I mean, literally, it's like investing into Microsoft like in the early 1980s. I mean, you have 14.88 million, so it has less circulating supply and a less supply overall compared to, Bitcoin. I get it. Some people say, well, Bitcoin at least has a little bit of, utility. In my opinion, I mean, are the central banks talking about moving cross-border payments with a Bitcoin? No, it's never in the conversation. But with quant, you're allowing 15 SDKs to be built upon with 3 lines of code, or even possibly less. It's just so impressive. It's unbelievable to think about this. I mean, so my thing is this. Yeah, I try to tell people, try to get 10 quant. Why is that? Because at some point I believe that this will be the new king when it comes to based off of market cap and so on. I'm on the record. Some people think I'm a nut for saying this. I don't care. At the end of the day, just because I'm a content creator, Mike could probably vouch for this. We're not allowed to have freedom of thought, apparently, Mike. None whatsoever. I don't know what's up with that, but so if I'm gonna get labeled as a nut for saying it, I don't care. My thing is this: I think at minimum, long term, Quant becomes $100,000 a coin. So you get at least 10 of these. Do the math. Obviously, it's at least that's like $1 million worth. But it could very well be like $1 million a coin by like 2030. Now people say that's crazy. The last all-time highs for market cap for the global crypto market cap was like 4.5, maybe close to 5 trillion. That would put Quant at like an insane market cap of like 50 trillion or more and so on. My thing is this: understanding at some point we will get that regulatory clarity. Recognize this: a utility run. Nobody really talks about utility runs that much. That's where the big institutional money will come in. You have to have that regulatory framework to lead towards regulatory clarity. And once the BlackRocks come in of the world, the world's largest asset custodian, are you kidding me? They're not going to want to put their money into crypto if there isn't that clarity. But once it happens, oh my God. So why Quant? Because Quant basically, they make this all interoperable on the APIs, on the banking, all that stuff. And Gilbert Verdian, who's the CEO of Quant, he created the ISO TC 307 standard back in 2015, 2016. He's already talking with the Bank of International Settlements, the Bank of England. His friend, they used to work together, is the new Prime Minister of England, for crying out loud. He's done work with MasterCard. All I'm saying is this: I could talk a person's ear off on this stuff. Look more into Quant. You'd be glad you did. And if you were kicking yourself in the butt back in 2013, I'm not coming into Bitcoin for $100. This is your second shot, basically, at Bitcoin. But with what? Real world utility. I don't know of a single other project in all of crypto that has more layers of utility compared to Quant when you really, really look into it.
Facts. I'm trying to find that chart where it shows like all the APIs and everything, but it's kind of even an older chart. You know what I mean? It has, but who's on there is crazy.
Yeah, Quant is connecting Web 2 to Web 3 and utilizing also pretty much all the top Fortune 500 companies is connected to Quant. Also HBAR, which connects to everything else. You know what I mean? So, if you know the connection, you can kind of see what's coming.
I think data is king. I think whoever owns data is king from now on. Like, it's all about AI. It's all about that quantum,
the quantum financial system. Yep. That's what's literally called the QFS. Yeah. And you have literally the top 20. If you were to go, don't do it right now, but if you're going to go on Google, you could type in the quantum financial system QFS and then type in CMC. It's going to give you the top 20 ones. It immediately mentions Quant, it mentions XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, some of these other ones. But I was going to say, I actually have the trailer. I don't know if we played it last time, but it's for the new Overledger commercial. And it's just like, if anybody here, it's a quick little trailer. But this will give you...
Blockchain is spurring a revolution in the way we create, record, and trade value.
Oh, you got it. You want to start it over?
Capital markets and supply chain.
There we go.
Blockchain is spurring a revolution in the way we create, record, and trade value. Its benefits, security, transparency, efficiency, can be applied to areas as diverse as payments, capital markets, and supply chains. That's why assets of all kinds are being tokenized on blockchains, making their ownership immutable, their provenance traceable, and their use manageable. The potential is enormous, but every blockchain is complex and creates a different walled garden of connections and functionality. Today, the decentralized world of blockchain is made up of closed environments, limiting liquidity and leading to increased risk and lost opportunity. Every digital asset must be created specifically for each chain, demanding dedicated developer skills, which are hard to find, time-consuming to master, and expensive to develop. Overledger Platform from Quant establishes a new benchmark for blockchain interoperability and ease of use. As a low-code enterprise-grade platform, Overledger empowers you to deploy, connect, and develop on any blockchain, quickly and simply. With Overledger, you can generate an interoperable digital asset with just a few clicks, create secure smart contracts that can execute on any blockchain without having to hire a team of experts. And you can use its advanced APIs to integrate with your systems and manage your assets on multiple chains. We believe that the blockchain economy should be simple, trusted, and future-proof. These are our principles and the genesis of Overledger Platform, the enterprise standard for building on blockchain.
I'll be honest, I get chills every time I watch that trailer.
That is so nice.
Hey, I sent you the quant chart, Space Chick.
Oh, you
Twitter.
got it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Okay, let's check it out. Because that right there is what got me. When I saw that, I was like, no way. All right, where do I sign up? Take my money. Like, it's amazing. Quant, y'all, is where it's at. This is where it's at. Look at this. Just you could take one name or just one thing from each one of those.
Like,
and it's still gonna be
look
good.
at that. And then Max, tell me how you think about what do you think about this? And this is kind of the connection I had, because I'm not a developer or coder or anything, but APIs are Web 2, smart contracts are Web 3. And I look at APIs as I look at smart contracts as the new APIs for Web 3 compared to how APIs connect everything for Web 2.
No, that's a great way of looking at it. And you guys got to also keep in mind, I mean, this goes for everybody, right? So one of my things is I do a lot of deep dives, right? That's what really kind of helped our channel go, take it to the next level, if you will. And that is, I did this piece about quant in regards to a thing called QRC 721 standard in regards to quant. And the significance in regards to that is not just smart contracts, but secure smart contracts. And now a perfect example why that is so important is it's the quant connection to NFTs. Now, back in late 2021, going into early 2022, let's face it, Solana really, did big things, right? Like well over $100. People are like, wow, what's this Solana thing? Because it was technically speaking like a rival to Ethereum. Understand that Solana really stood out because of, let's face it, being able to like mint NFTs and doing it for significantly cheaper compared to Ethereum. And there's other ones that, are able to do that and so on. But let's face it, they really stood out. Now, Inject Quant, they're the answer in regards to secure smart contract NFTs because of this thing called QRC 721. So, there was a time in place where, for instance, even on OpenSea, you're getting some of your, people's artwork is getting hijacked, whether you're the NFT holder and so on. Quant has a solution in regards to that, with specifically just that, the QRC 721 standard. That's a big part of the puzzle. And that, again, that doesn't even scratch the surface completely. That's just from, secure NFT point of view, secure smart contracts with NFTs. They got this other thing, for instance, the Liechtenstein exchange, which is LCX, and that's big in itself. So, if you're into, for instance, BNB, the only utility BNB has is, if you hold BNB, you'll get a discount for holding BNB to, purchase crypto off of Binance, obviously. But with LCX exchange, they're the tokenization of like anything and everything, like, real world digital assets like diamonds, for crying out loud. A recent project they did is called Leo X. And on that particular project, like, they just announced that they're tokenizing like movie tickets and concert tickets. That became the first QRC 20 token from Quant. So as you guys know, Ethereum is ERC 20. So Quant got this thing with the EOX going on, and there's that particular example. But again, like, there's so much to it. I mean, who doesn't use, for instance, what you see on the left side, some of these things for,
we use everything on there to run our life today.
Yeah,
it runs everything that we use.
So I mean, who, Google Pay and God, I mean, PayPal. I have to pay my server rent every month because I have a co-location of actual 2U server rack in Chicago. they only accept PayPal. So if I don't pay in PayPal, I guess you could say I'm kind of screwed. I don't know. I'll work something else out. But Mike's right. I mean, everything you see here, and then even on the right side, banking APIs. We talked about Hedera earlier. Hedera needs to have something in regards to APIs soon, Space Chick, and they already have that partnership with Hedera. So to me, who do you think they're going to talk to? I mean, it's a no-brainer. They're going to talk to Quant. So at the end of the day, we get into what I like to refer to as not just like towards all-time highs for a bull run, but a utility run. And people say, well, what the heck is the utility run? The utility run will happen once we get regulatory clarity. But don't be surprised in the future, and it's a few years down the road. But if you were like, well, we may get back to like 4 or 5 trillion global market cap. The real juicy stuff, the stuff that's like, generational wealth, is when we get to market caps that are like 50 trillion, maybe 100 trillion. Some people are like, man, this Max guy, get him the hell off your show. He doesn't know what the heck he's talking about. He's full of crap. I don't care. My thing is this. The institutional money, why is there so much emphasis on it? Even with the Ripples, XRP, they're not focused on retail. They're focused on what? That bank-to-bank money. And what it consists of that bank-to-bank money, right? The institutional players. So that's where you get like the most unbelievable market caps coming in. And if Quant is connected to all this stuff, which they are, draw your own conclusion. If Bitcoin was able to go to 69K with virtually not that much utility, to be honest, right? They're not doing cross-border payments and so on. Then you can imagine what Quant will be worth. I'll just leave it at that.
That price right there, it went up to 394.
And you want to know something, Elizabeth? It's okay to call you Elizabeth on your show.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, we covered Quant since $40 since last summer, before summer 2022.
That's why y'all need to sub to his channel.
Big Max.
Look at that. I'm gonna drop it in the chat again.
There's other ones. I'm not trying to tour horn too much, but even Singularity Net, Ajax, we covered that since 4 cents.
And Singularity Net, that's off of Cardano, right?
That's a standout one for Cardano, brother.
Yep,
as you know.
yep.
I mean,
I'm
I was
aware of
telling
that
people,
one.
yeah, I mean, so I'm personally invested into Cardano. Obviously, I'm not impressed with it, but here's the key thing, guys. All you need when it comes to an ecosystem is like a quality project to build on an ecosystem. And that's another thing. I know we're jumping back and forth. So with Jasmy, they got this thing called the Jasmy Grants Program. And the nice thing about it is Jasmy's now starting to build out an ecosystem with these grants programs. So basically it's like this. And I've been exposed to this because I myself, when I was taking my master's program for my MBA, I had to pitch my game idea to 2 venture panels. And, you really have to bring your A game. You have to have a proper business plan, all this stuff, right? So look at it from this perspective, right? You have certain projects. They're going to be pitching their idea, if you will, to build on Jasmy's grant program. Jasmy will handpick some of these finalists. All they need, for instance, is like a Singularity Net and so on. Now, why would I mention something like Singularity Net? You may think, well, Max, this is apples and oranges at this point. It's not. The next particular key thing, part of the Jasmy roadmap for 2023, is a brand new AI engine. And with they're connected to the Internet of Things, I'm telling you, you guys, I mean, I'm going to give you financial advice. I don't want to do that. Look into it more your own self. You'll be blown away, especially if you use crypto Twitter. In my opinion, like we have a show called Utility Talk now. It's every Wednesday, which is ironically today. And so I literally picture this, right? Like you have a utility belt for crypto. If you're like an investor that's really into this stuff, you should have 2 things part of your crypto utility belt, right? You should have crypto Twitter, which is, a Twitter account, and then you should know how to use it. So like you want to type on the search bar, you want to type in like, hashtag Jasmy or $Jasmy, and you can see all this stuff that's outlined, right? Another thing you should use is Reddit. That's a great source of information because let's face it, guys, when it comes to, the mainstream narrative on crypto, they only report 2 things. That's when things are at all-time highs or it's a massive crash. They don't tell you about the utility. Right? We got count on people like, for instance, like our brother here, Mike the Investor, letting us know on YouTube or Twitter. Elizabeth, aka Space Chick, letting us know about some of these DGen ones, or Hedera's H-bar. By the way, I love your 5-minute video that you did on H-bar. It had a great B-roll. But
Thank you so much.
yeah, you're welcome. You guys, you're not going to get this info going on CNBC or something like that. Again, am I too far off, Mike? I mean, they're going to
No,
report
you're
on
spot
one
on.
or two
You're
narratives.
spot on, man.
That's it. It's up to us to bring it, you know? So
Mhm. Yeah, because people they're listening, some of them still are listening to mainstream media. I feel like a lot of people are waking up though and realizing like, hey, wait a second, maybe I need to turn the TV off and look somewhere else. But yeah, like Quant, H-bar, Jasmy. I'm digging Jasmy right now. You might?
Yeah, I'm piquing my interest. When I saw the Sony connection, I was immediately like, okay, I'm gonna have to do a little research on this after all of this is over. Because I'm real big on connections, partnerships, because it leads to other things. Money leaves clues. And so yeah.
Mhm. It's been going up since we've been talking about it too. Like it's been, I mean, that's, you know what I'm saying, but like it's been going up since we've been live.
Yeah.
It was at 5%. Now it's up over 6%. Y'all look what you're doing to the chart, Max. Look
That's
what you're
all
doing.
Max.
That's all.
no,
Max.
that's not enough to thread the needle, my friends. It speaks for itself. I mean, I wish, right? You know, we're not there yet. I mean, we're only at like, I think we're close to like 12,000 subs, which is, you know, it's part of the journey. Like we're gonna eventually in 5 or 6 years we'll get to Mike the Investor status, but no.
Man, before
yeah.
that, you guys gonna get there before that.
Well, my point is, it's a bull run. So you know, even you, Mike. I mean, like, you know, you probably seen your channel. Like the key thing is this:
blew up during the bull run. Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
exactly.
So this next cycle, so all the
yeah.
content creators that's been making content now, like YouTube, you guys are gonna go crazy when the full-on bull run come. Like, watch how fast your channel grows. You're gonna be like, damn. Like I'm telling you, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be nuts.
And knowing that, I mean, what's there to not like about Mike the Investor? I mean, he don't have the bobblehead up today, Mike. God,
Mike, where's the
could you not
bobblehead, Mike?
But you know what? He does every now and then have my boy Damian Lillard up in there. So you got Paul George right now. Okay.
Damian Lillard's still hanging up. He's still hanging up.
There
I was
he
born and
is
raised in
right
Portland,
there.
Oregon, my friend. So Damian Lillard is the best thing since Clyde Drexler. And Clyde the Glide was, you know, when I was a kid, I literally snuck in because it was across the street. Clyde Drexler was hosting a basketball camp across the street from where I lived, Mount Scott Park in Southeast Portland, Oregon. And my buddy's like, Clyde Drexler's at Mount Scott Park. My man, you're full of crap. He's there. I swear to God, he's there. Look at all these cars all around. I'm like looking at all these parked cars. I'm like, well, something's going on.
Right.
And so we snuck into the back and then try to be all quiet. And then my friend, like, I guess like he bumped the door. It made a big sound. And everyone's all looking at us. And I'm like looking at them like a deer in the head, like, oh no. And I'm like only like in the 8th grade at this time. And then I'm like, oh, you know, it's like the feeling like you don't want everybody like looking at you. It's not, I don't have stage fright, but it's just kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
And then like these guys come up to us and they tell us, like, if you don't have a ticket, you know, or your parents that pay for you, you're gonna have to leave. I mean, it's not fair to, you know. I was like, okay. You know what Clyde Drexler did? He saw that and he was just like, nah, you know what? Let them stay. They can just observe. They can watch and so on. I was just like,
that's what's up.
I was like, I love you, Clyde Drexler. You're my hero, man.
He's definitely a legend, man, for Portland. Had some crazy dunks, man.
Yeah, Clyde the Glide, man. I mean, he was literally my hero when I was a kid. I mean, that from the late 80s to you know before he got traded to Houston. I mean, that was my guy. And then we never had that superstar player. I mean, Rasheed Wallace, I guess a little bit, like that was our other all-star. But the Jailblazers, I mean, that didn't. But man, Dame, that's where it was at. I know we're getting off the subject of crypto. We better get back to it. But
no, you're fine.
Are you into any sports, Space Chick?
I used to play soccer a lot.
Okay.
So yeah.
So you're big into FIFA then?
Yes, I like playing it on the PlayStation as well.
Nothing wrong with that.
That a little bit.
You have Ronaldo on a poster on your back in that space cabin behind you. Is there Ronaldo poster?
I know.
Messi?
It's behind the space. How did you know?
Right, there you go.
Look, we have other YouTube content creators in the space cabin. I have to say, hey, what is up to Daniel Gayton? He also is a YouTube content creator. Y'all go follow him, go sub to his channel. He's almost at 1,000. Super knowledgeable as well. Always has crypto updates super early in the morning. Like 5.
Daniel?
Yeah, 5 or 6 in the morning. He's up, he's talking about it, he's on it. And then we have Bleeves Crypto. What's up, Bleeves?
Believes what's going on, man.
Believe Scottish
Believes
crypto
always
says.
right. That's his motto.
Yeah, that's what he says. Scottish crypto says spaceship. My dad used to play soccer for Scotland. Oh wow, and it's football. Hey,
Foosball.
I live in Texas, so we got a whole different football. Definitely. Oh, that's so crazy though. I did say football one day. I was like, wait a second, I've been on Twitter too long. Oh man, y'all, this is really interesting. I like to know which ones y'all have been checking out and looking at. And Quant is definitely where it's at. H bar, can we check out H bar for just a second?
Yeah.
All right.
While we
now-
checking it out, tell us tell us Space Chick about H bar. What kind of drew you into H bar so much?
Oh, you want to see? Let me show you.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. Break it down for us.
I think I know what you're gonna
Yes.
say, but I'll let you answer that. I know what you're gonna say though.
Yeah. What the governing council members?
It's got the most impressive governing council out there. And I mean, come on. I mean,
It does.
Google, IBM. I mean, you name it. Was it Boeing,
LG,
NASA?
Boeing,
Like, look at
Wow.
all those companies, man. Like that is just
Ubisoft, every single one. Hold on, I have it like hold on one second. Are y'all seeing? Okay.
And how about
I'm
this?
going-
It's not even a blockchain, right? Hedera's Hashgraph consortium. That gossip protocol. Like, hey girl, did you hear that Mike Investor? Doesn't have his bobblehead up on there. Oh, I saw him on Space Chick Space Cabin. Oh yeah, is that but it passes, right? The rumors and so on, right? It sounds silly, but it's like look more into the Hashgraph consortium protocol, and it's like, yes, it's not even a blockchain for crying out loud.
Nice.
It's very impressive. And Dr. Lehman Baird, he's a scientist. He's literally,
there we go.
oh,
IBM, LG.
Ooh,
Look
IBM,
at
I
that.
held that too in the stock market. Great dividend payer.
nice.
Google.
this is my Hedera folder for when I make videos.
Nice.
So that's
Nice.
why I had to make a whole folder because I was like, I'm gonna keep talking about this. Look, yeah, IBM, LG. Let me see, Swirlds is down here as well. Oh man. Oh, and my goal is making a video of each one. Like, well, what can IBM bring to the table for Hedera?
That'll be
like
interesting.
Yeah, so I did
Yeah.
IBM, and because that's a grandpa. You want to know what he's been up to for
The
a while.
grandpa.
Yeah, he's a grandpa out here in tech. So I had to see what's IBM up to, and it was really
Real-
interesting. I did a video on it. So.
Real quick. So do you guys know IBM Interstellar Ledger Protocol is what built XLM's protocol? You know that, right? Did you
Yes,
guys know that?
No, I did
Oh
not.
yeah. Oh yeah. So
Yes,
major
it's-
connection.
Mike knows you clearly done your research on that. Yeah.
Oh
it's
you
huge.
oh yeah, man. I still hold a massive bag of Stellar and XRP. Oh, yeah.
Dang.
Stellar is my number 3. So it's QNT, XRP, like kind of tied to a sense, and then right after that, it's Stellar's XLM. I mean, the way I look at it, if XRP eventually, when we get clarity, and we get full implementation of this whole thing, ISO 222, not just like a little few drops, right? Where we get 100% on-demand liquidity, where like this is a real thing happening.
Yeah.
If you think that XRP is going to get to 10,000 or more per coin, you better believe the XLM is going to be right up there with them. Like, right, in my opinion, like 6,500, 7,000, and so on. I know it sounds nuts, but you know what? That's just the way I look at it.
Yeah, and you remember last time I was on your Space Cabin Space Chick when I was talking about the connection between XRP and XLM. Remember Jed McCaleb, one of the founder members of XRP? He left XRP to help build XLM.
See,
And people still don't know this to this day.
And then let me pull up XLM, y'all. Let me pull it up because what is it at 9 cents now? Like 9 cents. You can't sleep on that.
I doubled my position when it hit like roughly 8 cents, and I was just like, I was like choosing: do I add more to my XRP, or do I just double my position with Stellar? And I was like, I'm gonna double my position with Stellar at these prices.
Yeah, Stellar is nice. I've been building that H bar though. I'm not gonna lie, I do have some Stellar, but that H bar, it was at 5 cents like this morning, I think it was. So y'all, if you want to know about Hedera, check it out. It's at 5 cents, which is a steal right now, in my opinion. because it's normally like 6, 7. It went up to 8, and then we're talking about XLM. Ooh, y'all don't sleep on this one either. 9 cents.
So all these that you're looking at, Space Chick, I mean, in my opinion, these are all great. This is the generational wealth money. This is, I mean, I know some people they want to you know, swing trade this. I do not swing trade these. These are literally like, you know, when we talk about generational wealth, this is it. You know, I do not. That's just me. I'm not telling people what to do. I do not swing trade some of these ones where it's Quant, XRP, Stellar, and so on. I just don't. HBAR.
Those are some you just keep on building. I agree with you. There's some that you just don't touch, and this isn't something you want to touch. Meme coin, I would think that's where I'm going to learn to take my profits 2 to 4. I think it was F Joe asking when call when call group. Well, when I learn how to take profits and not hold on to a project all the way up and all the way down, maybe. But that's where I'm at in my crypto journey. But I at least know, and I've had an open mind to know that it's not all about meme coins. You have to look at these, y'all. Tech is changing in the world, and it's going to be different by the end of 2023. If you're not looking at Quant, you're not looking at HBAR, you're not looking at Stellar, you're not looking at these, well, then you have to. You just got to do your research. And like, you know, Max and Mike say, don't listen to us. You know, I'm just a space chick. I'm just in space with a pink light behind me. I don't know anything.
I'm just a guest.
You're like, I'm just here.
I'm just a guy with a bunch of blue in my background.
That's so funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I believe that XRP is the Bitcoin of XLM's Ethereum. Oh, what did you say up here? Diamonds and Rubies. Yeah, she has XRP. She hit me up. Hey, how do I get XRP? I was like, let's go.
She's like, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel Gayton, Eddie T, Eddie, especially, you know, thank you guys for being here.
Dave
Rock.
D too. I know.
Dave
like,
D, yep, you too, Dave. Good to see you.
Everybody like has been coming into the space cabin. It's so crazy because you see, I see some faces that whenever I had like 30 subs, like 30 subs, like Diamonds and Rubies. Then you got Mara. Eddie came in months ago. Like, y'all are amazing. Just shout out to y'all in the chat. Shout out to everybody, you know, communicating with us as well. If y'all have any questions, ask them. They're here. They're right here. But what do you think about, I
was gonna say, this coworker, he just messaged me and he says, we're all watching from the lecture hall. He says, how am I supposed to comment? And I literally sent him a little thing just now. It's just like, Google it, dude. I mean, I know it sounds rude, but come on. I mean, you know, you literally work at college. Why don't you just like, I got to explain this on a live stream. So he's probably like,
you got to have an account. You got to sign in with your Google account. Once you have a Google account, it'll let you comment. It'll let you like the live stream as well. But Google will not let you participate if you are not a member of YouTube.
So. Yeah.
And y'all got to sub to the channel because I sure did put that on.
So it won't let you comment if you don't sub to the channel to Space Chick. So it won't let you comment.
Yeah, I'm like, if you want to say something. I had that joke with who was in the space cabin, Optimum Hustle. He was like, I see you got that sub count or your sub thing. And I was like, heck yeah, I do. I was getting some trolls. How are y'all gonna pop in here, say what you gotta say or want to say and pop out? No, you gotta sub. Daniel says memes are short-term profit utility coins, life-changing money. Yeah, CTN. I know. Crypto Talk now. Go
Thanks
sub
for being here,
to
GS.
their
Appreciate
channel.
it, man.
I know, right? Y'all go sub to their channels for real. I dropped them in the chat. Their links. I'm heavy invested in XRP, the new Bitcoin. People keep saying that, the new Bitcoin. Hey, what's up, Akelia? How are you doing? Miss Vault Lady, one of the Vault Ladies here in the space cabin. I love it.
Thunderbolts going.
I know. You already know.
And I guess, you know, we haven't even talked about it. And I know it wasn't a Vaulted stream, but I guess we might as well briefly touch on Vault, right? We got so many people in the comment. How do you feel about Vault right now, Space Chick? I know Max isn't a guy that holds Vault right now, at least from what I know so far, but I know he's looking into it. Oh, do you?
Yes, I have a bag of Vault.
How recent was this?
I bought Vault back in I want to say February of
Okay.
2022.
That's on my bad, man. Okay.
No,
Well,
it's
that's
all right.
a couple
And then
months ago. Okay.
yeah, well, on that particular one, you know, they had a deadline to merge it to the V2. So unfortunately, I still got to do that. I know it sounds bad, but I did buy on the V2. So I do hold a bag in regards to the V2.
There you go. See, you got your bag packed and ready
Because
to go.
the way I look at it is, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the, you know, meme tokens, as you guys know, and so on. I mean, I still hold a bunch, obviously, like SHIB and Doge and so on. But my main thing is this: like, there's no denying this community at all. Like, I mean, at any particular moment, I mean, I think last time I was here, you got, as the saying goes, your whole stream got vaulted with a whole army of people. I mean, you had Paulo Crow just came up in here and just boom, vaulted the heck out of this thing. You know.
There were lightning bolts like all the way down. We had to like
sift
crazy. Through and find the comments. It was so crazy. It was wild. They go wild. That's why I was saying, like, you didn't even know when Floki got listed on crypto.com, but I guarantee you will know when the Vault Army gets listed. They're gonna tear it up. It's gonna blow up. Twitter will blow up. It's gonna every trending is gonna be like vaulted, vaulting.
Hey, I want to give a shout out to Crypto Smith. We do a show together on Wednesdays. Unfortunately, he won't be here tonight on the show. I actually got to leave here soon because our show is going to be starting in about 20
How long have we been going?
I don't know.
Hour and 35 minutes.
You guys are more than welcome to continue, but I will have to go because I mean I got to do a little bit of prep. But yeah, I want to give a shout out to the Crypto Smith. Give him a follow. He's the co-host on our show called Utility Talk Now. It's on Wednesdays, and on that particular segment, instead of like, you know, for our show, for people wondering, we have a format where, you know, like everything we have tagged for the most part, we do coverage. And we just, you know, give you guys like some of the particular updates, whether it's HBAR, Jasmy, Quant, XRP, XLM. But on Wednesdays, what we do like with Crypto Smith is we take like a deep dive into like something that just recently happened. If it's juicy, when we try to analyze it like big time and so on. So Crypto Smith, he's awesome. He's forging, you know, utility projects with his you know, with his anvil and his you know, as you can see right there on his avatar. But you know, check him out, guys. He's really close to getting up to 2K subs. He covers XRP, XLM. He even covers Jasmy. I think like Volante, I think was one of the recent ones. Great content creator. Can't say enough good things about him. And he has, you know, an excellent, you know, he does excellent deep dives. Even like you, Elizabeth, he does this whole thing of like the B-roll, you know, to kind of keep you engaged. So, you know, we live in a society nowadays, especially when I teach, like, are you kidding, these kids, like, they have attention span. I even said it to them, so it's not like I'm talking crap, where, you know, it's like, if you don't keep them engaged, they drift off, right? Even us watching videos, like, if you get into some of those moments where, you know, it's just a bunch of reading, you know, person drifts off. So he does the B-roll just like you. He keeps you engaged, and check out his content. He's a really, really good content creator. So have nothing but good things to say about Sean the Crypto Smith. But unfortunately, I do have to leave here.
Okay.
Like within the next 30 seconds or so. But
I know you and Mike are super, super busy all the time. So I don't want to keep both of y'all. I know I'm lucky to have y'all on here. You know what I mean? So I don't want to. I want to make sure y'all come back. So,
but you're more welcome to continue your stream. I'm just saying. I mean, I'm going to have to take off. I'm going to state this. So whoever's watching from GCC, from the lecture hall, I hope that you all enjoyed your Subway sandwiches. And
eat fresh.
Yeah, shout out to Mrs. Martinez who brought a bunch of. She brought some chicken adobo. Thank you very much, and the pancit and the lumpia, and everybody who, you know, participated in the potluck and so on. Thank you so much. I think we have roughly at least I want to say about 45 people who showed up from GCC. Thank you so much for tuning in or watching from the lecture hall. There's still food and beverages there. Thank you so much for joining us here tonight. If you want to join me over at Crypto Talk Now for our live stream that's coming up, you're more than welcome to do so. But also consider making an account. That way you can comment, and you can like, and so on. And it's been awesome and an absolute honor. I want to give a shout out to Mike the Investor. Are you kidding me? It's a privilege to finally be able to be on a show with a guy that I've been watching since late 2020. I said early 2020, late 2020 I've been watching you.
Man, well, Max, I just want to say thanks, man. It's been a pleasure sharing the space with you. I want to say shout out to Space Chick for putting this together, and we definitely have to do it again. Seems like the audience love it.
Yeah, no doubt. Give me a follow back, Mike. I would love to, have you
Yeah,
part of
yeah,
our
yeah.
network. So
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Gotcha.
Y'all go sub to their channels, Mike the Investor and Crypto Talk Now. That's Max. He definitely let us know about Jasmine. Mike letting us know, what's going on in this space and how he likes to take profits and what he likes to do as well. This is where Max and I learned from Mike. So it was an honor for us to have Mike in the Space Cabin. And it's always an honor to learn from Max and have Max in the Space Cabin as well. So I appreciate you guys. And I really, really hope that I get to have y'all back sometime soon.
Yeah,
for
Space Chick, I
sure.
gotta have you on the channel too, so I'll be in touch.
That would be awesome. Hell yeah. Okay, cool. I'm down. I'm totally down.
Yeah. And
All right,
Max too,
everybody.
man. We have to get both of you guys on,
I
but
mean, how
I
cool
appreciate
would
it,
that
bro.
be?
Thank you.
That would
and
be
I followed
fun.
you on. Just subscribe to your channel too, Max. So
Well, I was saying on Twitter. Give me a follow back on Twitter.
Follow
It's
on Twitter?
yeah, I'm just like you see on the screen at DPG Maximus. That way, if I need to send you like a DM or something,
yeah,
I won't
so I
bug
can
you
see
though.
it.
I'm not the type of guy who's just gonna flood your comments or whatever. So
You're good.
like,
I
oh
do
my
get that,
god,
but you're
Mike the
good.
Investor. Oh,
good.
this is so unbelievable. I won't
see.
bother you like that.
So what's your Twitter again, so I can make sure I'm following you, man?
Oh, it's just like what you see on the screen at DPG Maximus.
My
Oh,
bad,
okay,
man.
I got you.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me see. Let me show. I'm not doing y'all proper, am I? I'm
I got you.
doing awful.
Just followed you back, my man.
I appreciate it, Mike. Thank you, buddy.
No problem, man.
All right, here y'all go. I'm going to leave their links in the description box below for sure. But here is Max's Twitter. All right, y'all go follow Max. And thank you, Max. And then here we have Mike, the Investor. And I'm going to leave their links in the description box below. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for tuning in to Space Chick Crypto. And I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.
See everybody.